Hello, hello, hello. It's Crafty Chris here with another Scrap Your Scrap Thursday night. Tonight we're going to be making a one-page layout, and it is a circular theme, and we're going to be using up those fussy-cutted flowers. If you're anything like me and you see a pattern that has flowers or some kind of image on it that you like and you know you use a lot of, you buy individual sheets of the paper and you just kind of fussy cut them in advance so that you have packages of them ready for when you want to go and do your layouts. So these happen to be flowers, and the prices you see on them are old packaging that I used to hold them. And I like these two lines. They're exactly the same paper line, different papers, but one is a larger version and one is the smaller version. So I thought I'd pull those out and see what I can get. Now, when I say fussy cut, I sit in front of the TV, literally, and just cut around what I think I might use in the different flowers in the paper. All right, so you're going to need a couple of things today. You're going to need a 4x4 mat. You're going to need your 8 1/4 size plate stencil that you made in one of the other videos that I created, and then you're going to need a piece of plain white cardstock, and that will get us going. I'm going to move it down here a little bit. All right, so here we are. In order to sort of lay out our page, I am going to, I could put my circle in the center, off to the right, all kinds of different ways, but this time I think I want it very close to the bottom corner, and then I have some corners to put some sentiments, some titles, and some additional decoration. So the first thing I want to do is trace my template with a pencil onto my paper, and I think I'm going to need a little more space than that actually. There we go. I want to make sure I have space for the flowers because I'm going to be using the fussy cut flowers around the outside edge. So I'm just going to lightly trace that. Whoops. And it often goes off the paper, and it doesn't have to be exact because it's just what I'm using to follow along. And now you can't even see it, so let me bring it closer so you can see what I mean in terms of just sketching it on there lightly. So you don't see a lot of it, you just see a little bit. It just gives you that idea of there being a circle there, and then you can lay out your paper accordingly, or your flowers rather, accordingly. All right, so what you want to do is you want to take your flowers from this form where they're, you know, sort of cut apart, and bring them into this form where they are actually fussy cutted. That means that you've taken off as much white paper as you possibly can without causing a problem on the construction of the cluster of flowers. So I've done that with my large flowers and my small flowers. I have a few small flowers over here in case I want to do some spatterings of confetti. What I did with the big flowers is I found two identical flower clusters, fussy cut one of them, and then the other one I cut apart because what I really want to do is some, this is interesting. Have I got the right flower? They look a little smaller. Oh well. I'm going to do some decoupage technique on building the flowers a little bit. Rather than my usual technique, which is to use my thumb to mold them and make them pop out of the page. So this time we're actually going to decoupage these and to give it some height. All right, so here we are with our paper. I'm going to put these away because I don't need it. Now, when I look at my layout, my 4x6, I want to have inside that circle. So you can't really see my circle, but there it is. So I'm just going to take a bit of repositionable tape, smuck it in there, and I'm going to try and get it about halfway. Want to make it so that it's flush and has some sort of an alignment. Okay, so that's where my 4x6 is going to be. So when I'm placing my flowers around, I will make sure that if it goes over, it only goes over a bit, and if it goes over a bit, I'm not going to put any glue on it. So right now, I am going to pull out my larger pieces, because I have small and large pieces. Now some of these are identical, and I have to identify them so that I don't repeat them. Okay, so here, these are identical, but I've cut some pieces off this one and left them on that one. This one I think is a completely unique one if I remember correctly. This one has a match, or maybe it doesn't, and these two here are identical. So I don't want those to be side by side. I want those separated so that I can see them better. Now on these ones I am going to use my thumb, but because they're all joined together, I'm just going to round out the central part of it when I put it down. So it's going to have a glue dot underneath like usual, but it's also going to have some flat adhesive. And because this is such a fussy cut flower and they're small, I'm going to use my pen adhesive to help me with getting it down properly. So between the two, I've got a pen adhesive and I've got my pop dots, and I'm ready to go. So the first thing I'm going to do is go in with my finger, and on the back I'm just going to round out my flowers, okay, so that they're just a little bit poppy. And I'm going to put myself a pop dot in the center so it'll keep that up. I want to bend these guys a little bit bent so they look a little more natural. If I have leaves, I'm going to turn up the ends a little bit, give it some life. And you have to be very careful when you do this, because you don't want to take anything off. There we go. And so when I put that down, it has a bit of lift, and I'll show you when I get a few things glued down so that you can see that. Okay, and now I think we're okay with this glue. I actually did take a picture when I was playing around, so I think I'm going to go to that because I really like the way I had it laid out, and I want to repeat that. Okay, so it looks to me like I was using this on this side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, because I have my photo down, I can go ahead and adhere that, trying to get it to follow the line of the circle I have. So I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive on some of the parts where I know they're not going to be popping up. And it will help to keep everything flush. And I'm going to take off that pop dot, flip it over, and I'm going to try to get those leaves to follow the curve of the edge of the paper. So there we go. Just hold it down for a second because I do have some glue on there. I want to make sure that it attaches. Okay, there we go. Now, next to that, I'm going to put a little cluster of flowers. I'm going to leave about a ½ inch, and I've attached this one, but the rest I'm not going to attach because we're going to work from this one. Then the next one I want to use is this little cluster, and I'm going to leave about a ½ inch. And then I want to use this cluster, And I'm trying not to have it line up exactly like across on the page. So I'm going to use a little pink flower here, a little yellow flower, if I can find one, here. There we go. Just keeping that visual. This one is going to come that way, helping us to space things. And then I am going to use, looks like I've used this one over here, and this I'm going to allow to cross over a little because I want to leave some space at the side here. And then I'm going to use a little rose. Then we're going to use another one of these. We had two of these. So there we go. And then here I was going to use this one because it's quite pretty and it fills up a bit more of that space. And in between those I'm going to put, okay, so let's move this just a little. I want that to follow the line, but I don't want it to be right on the line. And then I'm going to put a little red guy. And then my final piece will go here. Now we'll have that follow the line. That one fills in a little. Good. This one can fill in a little. And this one can fill in a little. There we go. Oh, I don't want two reds together. And then I have, or I had, did I miss something? I have a pink. I have that. I have that. I have that. I have that. I have this. I have this. And I'm missing a little yellow one that I cut up. Alrighty. So I'm going to quickly cut up another yellow one, unless it's on the floor somewhere that I can see. Nope. Okay. So I'm going to cut this. You don't need to watch me, and I'll be right back. Okay, back with my little piece that I was missing. I'm going to move this over just a tad. And then I'm going to look and see if I like what I'm seeing. And if it feels like a bit of a circle, or if I have to do some adjusting, maybe bring a few things out, adjust the shape. So that kind of makes me feel like it's following a circular line. And it looks pretty balanced to me. Maybe I can move this over just a touch. There we go. There we go. Alrighty. So I am now going to stick these all down like I did, puffing the center using the back of the page and my thumb, and then gluing everything down. And I'm going to puff up these little guys as well. And remember to turn up your leaves so that you have some life in your greenery. This is stuck, but you can take a little bit of it and just kind of turn it up at the end. There we go. That one's puffed. Okay, so we're going to do that to everything here. And you can do yours at home. All Alright, so here we are. I've got all my flower bitty bits on my layout now, and my picture is going to go there. So now I'm noticing that these regions are quite a bit smaller, and I want to make sure that if I'm picking a corner piece, that it's not going to infringe on this element that gives us that. Yeah, this one, if I put this like this, I might have to trim it off. So I can put that one in that corner. And I think I'm going to have to wait on this one. That one can go in back in the container. And then if I have the odd decorative little splatter, so maybe we can have a few of these here, there, and everywhere. So like graffiti, or not graffiti, like glitter, or oh, I can't find my words today. No, it's too close. That one there, this one here. Maybe just a couple of little pieces. And then these are going to go over top of our bigger pieces. And I don't even need to do that one now, but these will go there, and this will go there. And that will pop up. Alright, so I think I'm liking this. Now I'm going to have to trim down some of these little bits of glitter, and get them put on. And they're going to just sit flat, and then I'm going to build my my corner piece. And all I am really doing for this corner piece is, let me show you. So this is all going to stay flat, except probably I will curl up the leaves, because I don't have any leaves that I am using currently on this. So we're lifting up the leaves, and all of this is going to lay flat. So what I need to do is I need to pop dot and mold with my thumb the upper layer of what's going to be this flower. So I'm probably going to need 2 pop dots. Whoa! Just to give it the height that it needs. And let's see if I can find there, something like that. It's not the exact same shape, so I must have mistaken my initial pickings for this flower. There we go. So that just gives it a little bit of lift. And we're going to do the same to this one. I'm only going to use 1 pop dot on this one because it's smaller. And it's going to come up this, whoa! They pop, alright. Like that. Try to get it lined up with the edge. Don't really want to see the edge if you can avoid it. This is going to be fine, that's going to be fine. Now this little guy, I'm actually not going to put glue dot on him. I'm going to turn him up and just put a dot of glue in the center of the flower and just have it sit. And let's see. this way. So this is just going to sit right there. And I might have to lift up his corners again. Oh, there's that missing flower. Oh, I'm going to put him there. Okay, so turning up my edges again of this flower. So it's got some 3D-ness to it. Right, and this, just going to roll over. And I do cut my pop dots into little tiny pieces so that I can use them for little tiny things. So I'm just going to make sure he goes in the right place. There we go. And then he sticks over top of that. There we go. And then this one, I'm going to curl up this one's edges. Spiky edges I tend to curl up. Rounded pieces I tend to leave down. Alrighty, now I have to figure out how this is going. There we go. Goes like that. There we are. So you can start to see the multiple layers I have on this and how it's lifting. That I probably should have popped a little more, but that's okay. This one, I'm going to have it go over. It's cone flower, so it goes over. Don't need a whole dot for this, so I'm just going to snip one in half. You can get them already snipped. I noticed that in the stores lately. And there we go, Mr. Cone Flower. There we are. A little popping there. And then we have 1, 2, I thought I had 3 of those. Maybe it's in this pile here. No, that's for that. Okay, well, we'll do 2. So I'm just going to do 2 of these, and I'm going to round it, and I'm going to snip this in half, and that little guy is going to go on there. He's going to go there, and I'm going to run this guy. This one's going to, whoops, stuck to my finger already, so there we go. There we go. All right, so that is one decoupaged flower, and you can start to see some of the detail, and when you have it down on the paper you'll see it much more. So I'm just going to swoosh off these extra little bits. Whoops! Just confetti for a minute. And now I need to put it in the corner. So I'm turning my page up and I'm deciding, I don't mind snipping a leaf. I'm hesitant to snip some of the other things though. Okay, so I think this is best bet. Right, okay, so I'm going to get my glue. This is quite a thin glue pen. I might need to go bigger. Yeah, it's drying already. So I'm going to go to my big glue bottle. And this guy, we're just going to dot all over. There we are. And I remember where I'm putting it. Make sure I don't put my fingers in it. All right, so we're keeping this down. Okay. Now these little ones, I'm just going to go in, put a little bit of glue on. And this guy, just going to put a glue in the center part. And I think the rest is okay. This could use a little more glue. Now the white glue takes longer to dry, of course, so you're going to have to leave it to let it dry. Let's turn this around now, and I'll trim that later. And this is going to be a birthday picture of my mother-in-law and her birthday cake. Now, I do need to have a little bit of confetti. So I am going to trim out a bit of confetti and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so I have fussy cut these little guys, but I thought that before I put the fussy cutting little pieces on, I want to get my title in there. And I want to do something like Happy 95th. And so it's too small on these sides, so I want to place it up there. So I'm just going to move this down a little so I can reach it a little better. I have this pink that kind of goes with what's going on in the page. And I need to get my line-up tools. And I'm just going to put it down straight. I'm not going to get fussy with it being on it. Oh, maybe I should, because it is a circle. I could do something like that. Okay. So these little handy guys are letter aligners from Thickers. And I just want to see. Okay, so if I have this lined up, so I'm lining my page up so I can sort of line up where I'm going to put my title, somewhere in there. Okay. So the premise of this is that you are putting your letters along the ruler and only a little bit in to hold them in place, and then when you put it down on the paper you push down the letters and literally pop this up and they come off. So I just need to make sure I know what I'm doing before I start that. So I'm going to pull off the letters I need. I'm just going to put them here for now. H. These are quite small, so I think I'll try to do it in capitals. H, A. Oops, this guy doesn't want to come out. Okay, P. A little fussy these are. P. These aren't lined up, they're just hanging there so I can count the letters that I have. Happy. $95th. And I need a T, small h. There we go. 95th. And I'm just going to put birthday over here. E, I, R, T, H, D, and the other thing you want to really do is make sure that you check your spelling, because it can be a problem if you don't have enough letters and you don't spell things correctly. Here's an exclamation mark, which I'm just going to put to the side, and oh my god, this is so small. And that. So I do include punctuation and spaces when I'm counting how many spots I need to leave, or if I'm working from left to right from a center, which we are today. And I just thought of something. I think I will put a piece of plain white paper under here so you can see a little better. There we go. It's not so conflicting. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So we have 20 spots. So this middle line is going to have to be where the break is. So that's 10 on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Look at that. I'm amazing. And I'm just putting, these are very tiny letters, so I'm just putting the little serif on the actual ruler. It's as much as I'm putting on there. And then I'm just lining everything up. To make sure that it is looking good. Okay, 95th, looking good so far. Yep. And then I leave a space, putting those serifs. It's too close. All right, P's, D's, A's, they are the hardest letters to line up because they look lined up, but then they really aren't. Okay, sorry, I have to lift this because I cannot see what I'm doing. So you use the grids to help you with the lining up of things and the spacing of things. On the 5th. Okay, so you get the idea. So because these are so small, these are going to take a little time for me to put on. So I am going to do this off camera so I don't torture you, and then I will meet you back. I'm ready to put on my title. Make sure I have the right page. So as you can see, this is all lined up and I've been playing with it and I'm pretty happy with it for the most part. And I want to center it in this space here. And first of all, it's always a good idea to have it lined up on your mat so you can kind of balance it. And I think that that is looking pretty good. So I push down all my letters. I might have to play with that H and that A. And then you just pop it off. Whoops. Gotta make sure that they're down. And you just stick your hand on it and I was saying pop it off, but it seems to be happier being slid off. And then of course I still have my exclamation mark, but I just want to play with this H and this P because they slid. This H and this A really. And the P slid too. Really works much better if you have, pull that a little closer. Okay, there we go. 5 is still bothering me a bit, but for most intents and purposes, there we go. All right, now I can play around with a few more things. Don't really like the empty spot in the corner of this layout, so I have some excess greenery. I'm going to do a couple of cuts just to fill it in a little bit. And if there's leftover, I'll put it back in the container. and use it for another layout. There we go. And that just kind of gives a little more to what's going on there. If I can get it to stick down. Okay, there we go. Alrighty, now, oops. No. I'm going to do a very light tracing of my picture. If I can find, there's my pencil. There we go. So I know my 4x4 has to fit in this space. Okay. And then I need to put my exclamation mark. So I just realized why I was having trouble, because I put the, I didn't have this the right side up, so it was a bit stickier than it needed to be. Oh. There we go. Come on. Whoa, a little bit fussy. There we go. Alrighty. Let's push you over a little. There we go. Alright, that can go away. And now I can play around with a few things. So while I was trimming, I tore off some of my flower, but I can use that by combining it with one of the other flowers. And I thought I would just put a couple down there. And maybe one here. And then maybe another one here. Maybe I'll switch. Nope. I kind of like the color that is. Nope. And sort of just have a few that are kind of hanging around. Something like that. I think I'm happy with that. I think though I might switch these. So put this over here. Like that. And that one like this. There we go. So I think I like what I'm seeing here. And I think I'm just going to finish it off. This glue is drying up, but let's give it a shot anyway. And I'm going to curl those edges up while I'm here. There we go. I'm going to stick this one down first. And then this one goes on top. Curl up the leaves. This one. Curl up the leaves. And this one. And just go right there. This one. Just go right there. And this one. And just go right there with the leaves curled up. This one. And just go right there. And then this one. And just go right there. The leaves curled up. There we go. I think that's everybody now. Yep. And there is our finished layout. The only thing we have to do now is trim this edge with my big long scissors. And if anything can be reused on another layout. Something to help in there with the leaf. Needs a bit more glue. It's shifting. There we go. Hold that down for a second. This, not really worth it. This, interesting leaf that can be used for behind something like that right there. All right. Okay, now I can just finish trimming this. Okay. That can be used for filler. The rest of this is garbage. And now this will fit into our page protector. And there you have lining it up, lifting it up a tad. And there you have your finished layout. Now, what I'm going to be doing is adding some of these blue gems, some of these sparkly peachy pinky gems, which you can't really see here, but they're a nice color. And then I have some of these pearls that kind of match. So I'll be adding those into the centers of flowers. And maybe a couple on that circular image. And you will see it on the finished product when the picture is at the beginning of the video. So thank you very much for joining me. Have a really great week. Bye-bye for now.